dealing with the king. If you wanna come and get it, let the outlaw get you out your seats. You want sports talk, politics, he don't give a shit. And Rocha says speaks, follow it. About to issue y'all a masterclass. You wanna pass? Gunslinging the new podcast, eat candy ass. Grab a top bench, get information. It's your boy John Rocha. Welcome to the Outlaw Nation.
All right, welcome everybody to this week's The Outlaw Nation podcast. This is John Rocha, a.k.a. The Outlaw, and as you guys saw on Facebook, this week's episode is going to be a Q&A episode. I've been really busy with the job and everything else, and in fact, tonight, after working a full day at the job, going in at 6:30 so we could do movie talk at 7 a.m., I then finished at around 3:30, drove over to Matt Nost's house, and we did 2 episodes of the Top 10 show, and now I'm doing the Q&A of Outlaw Nation podcast. So my day has been incredibly busy, so I haven't had time to kind of schedule topics to talk about tonight. So I thought a Q&A would be perfect, as it's been a while since we've done one, and it kind of solves the problem. So thanks everybody for tuning in and downloading the podcast, and for listening to us, listening to me rather on the SK Plus podcast channel. You guys know there's a lot of great shows on here. The After Schmo show. Let's see, the Don't Be a Beardo show, the Wanger show, the Top 10 show, and of course this show as well. So, I really appreciate you guys downloading the show and subscribing to the channel and listening to all the great shows on there. And definitely leave them comments, and all the ones I mentioned, leave them comments, leave them ratings, tell them how much you love them, because I'm happy to be part of the network. Matt and I are happy to be part of the network on the Top 10 show. So it's great to have a platform for us to talk about it, and really appreciate you guys listening every week, So I just thought that I would say that to start off the podcast, because I'm in kind of a chill place. I'm in a kind of a relaxed place. It's the end of the day. I'm hitting my P's pretty hard on the mic, so I apologize if that irritates any of you all. But I'm doing my best here. But yeah, I'm just in a pretty chill place. So I'm going to take your questions as they come. I'm going to try and answer as many of them as I can. I'm going to give myself about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm definitely going to try to read the names off of everyone and then answer the questions as best I can. I haven't looked at a lot of these, so it'll be whatever I'm thinking on my mind. It'll be, and if I want to come back to one, I'll come back to one if I think I got a better answer for you. So that's the way to go. But first, let me start off by saying I hope you all had a fantastic week since you listened to me last week. David was awesome to come on and talk Premier League football, so it was great to have a great conversation with him. I love David to pieces, so it's a lot of fun to sit and talk with him, And I've got a Clark Wolf coming up, I think next week or the week after. She's coming on to talk her amazing new show that she's got going on, her play that she produced and is being put up, and want to give it some love. I think a player film. I'm sorry if I'm a little unclear on that, but it's a player film that she's produced. It's coming back or coming out, and so she wants to get a lot of attention for it. So I'm going to have her on as a guest. And many of you know, like Clark and I have yet to face each other in the Schmoedown, whether in teams or singles. I don't know if it's going to work out in teams. Hopefully it will. At some point we're going to have to go toe-to-toe, me and her, on our movie knowledge. There's probably no one I respect more in the Schmoedown in terms of movie knowledge than Clark Wolf. She's pretty smart about news and does a lot of work in the business and is constantly in demand on a lot of shows. So it's going to be an honor of mine to have her on the show. You think next week or the week after. So, but I hope you all are doing well. I hope you all have been, pushing through the stuff that's been going on in your lives. Hope you guys have been figuring things out, redoing the reading, finding these sayings. Listen, people are going to make fun of it. People are going to do what they're doing. Let them live their lives. Don't let them affect you. If you need to read inspirational stuff, if you need to post it, if you need to put it on your phone, you need to put it on Facebook, on your Instagram, you need to tweet it out, whatever you need to do it. Go and listen, go and follow these Twitter accounts that really give you positive messages and give you positive words. It's shown in numerous studies that reading positive messages every day, reading positive words, you can even buy posters, posters you can hang on the wall, you can frame it, you can buy these already ready-made wooden type carved out words, you can put them all over your apartments or over your houses, so they give you a positive energy, positive force, and so that's what the Outlaw Nation podcast is about, is telling the truth about issues in life, in the world, and also about inspiring you all to climb out of wherever you're at, or if you've already climbed out, to help you come to the next level, to go to the next level, right? That's what this is about. It's a podcast of positivity. All right? It's about fighting for what you want in this world and pushing yourself. If nothing else, these are the thoughts, these are the motivations, these are the drives that you need to have inside yourself. Everyone's going the people are going to tell you in your life sometimes they don't think you can do it, or what are you trying to aspire to this? Why are you trying to aspire to that? Be realistic, but be determined. That's the key. You can't be too lost in the clouds. You got to have some realism. And by the same token, though, you can't be so realistic that you forget all your dreams. Like there's a middle ground that you can find. If you can find it, if you can work hard, you can push yourself. The breaks may happen, and you'll be ready. And that's what's important, And I hope seeing the journey I've been on over the last few months. Or last couple of years really has given you guys a possibility or sent a message out to you all, that if you work hard, if you push hard, sometimes people give you the opportunities. If you take advantage of opportunities, you never know what can happen. So I'm very happy with what's happening in my life being full-time at Collider. It's been great. It's an exhausting schedule, being on the other side of it now. I understand more. So all the work everybody does at Collider to bring you guys the entertainment, to bring you guys news, to bring you guys, even the stuff on the .com out of New York and out of here in LA. There's so much work that goes on the website and on these shows. On Collider, there's so much that happens. All the behind the scenes on the Schmoedown is just incredible. You guys would be blown away by how much is involved. I know Perry did a BTS on one of the pay-per-views, so quote-unquote pay-per-view Schmoedowns that we've done, but you guys have no idea how extensive and how much work it really is, So nothing but respect should be paid to everybody involved with producing the Schmoedown and getting the Schmoedown up on its feet. And sometimes we're doing multiple matches, so it's just it can be a really exhausting day. When you add that on to an already full day of work that you're doing outside the Schmoedown. So it's been an incredible experience and a quick learning curve. And I've had to catch up at times, but I feel like I'm keeping my head above water, and we'll see what happens as it goes down the pike. And it's really nice to be appearing on more shows. It's always, like last week I was on Mailbag, and I was on This Just In, and I was on, Movie Talk, and I didn't get on Council or TV Talk, but I've been on all these other things, So it's been great to have these opportunities, and I even got to do a review of Lucky a couple of weeks ago, so that was great too. So it's been an awesome experience. So I hope for you all, whatever you're striving to achieve, whatever you're fighting to do, keep going, keep doing it, keep believing in yourself and pushing yourself. It's really important to do that, because it takes just as much effort for you to say positive things about yourself to yourself than it is to say negative things about yourself, right? When you're saying negative things, you're parroting things that you've heard from other people say about you in the past, and you're giving them the power to control your behavior, the power to determine what you will do with your life, what you can do with your life, what you will do with your life, and that's a mistake, What you want to do is just keep firm. Maybe it'll never happen, and maybe it will happen. You never know until you try. And so that's the thing, right? What do they say? Fear is the enemy of accomplishment. Fear is always the enemy of success, So be afraid if you want to be, but do it anyway. Feel the fear and do it anyway. You've heard that before, right? Everyone gets afraid. I don't care how tough you see them be. Everyone gets afraid. That's part of the game, When you're going, because you don't know if you can do it. But the fear is what motivates most people. So let that fear or even excitement motivate you to the next level. That's what's really important. So I just want to let you guys know that. All right. Anyway, let's jump into these questions. As I said, I haven't read most of them, so I'll be answering as they go along, and I'm going to try to say everybody's name and then answer them as quickly as possible because I've got a lot to get through. If you're asking more than one, then we'll figure it out. So, all right, here we effing go. Let me take a drink first. And I know you guys love this part where I take drinks, but it's to keep my throat, not dry, wet. I don't know. All right. So we're going to start on the Schmoedown page. Samuel Dalton, he asks, if you could watch one movie on repeat, what would it be? I would say it's either Citizen Kane or Major League. I know those are two completely different films, but I love Major League to pieces. It's something I can watch over and over and over again. Wait. No. Let's remove that. Shawshank Redemption or Major League. I think those are the two that I could watch over and over and over again and never get bored, never get tired, and enjoy the hell out of them. Gonzalo Benedetti asks, what made you change the attitude of the outlaw? I think I just hit a place where I understood that the outlaw at some point had to embrace who I really was as a person, who I really am as a person. And I wanted him to be more focused on not being a face or a heel, just being himself, And so I think that's what I've done. And I got too wound up in the pursuit of all the belts and all the records that I was psyching myself out, which had been the complaint by other people who had observed me in these Schmoedown competitions. and commentators as well. I'm sure you heard them say the same thing about me. And I realized after that triple threat match that it was time. It was time to let all that go, let the cards fall where they may, trust in the knowledge that I have, and if I win, I win, and if I lose, I lose. But my determination to achieve things in either of those competitions, in either of the tournaments that are going on, it's to achieve success. And so win or lose, I'm still going to be giving it all my all, one way or another. So you can't psych me out anymore. I'm just there to play and have fun. All right, Laura. Okay, I'll check Laura later. Patrick McCabe, are you really a big fan of Harry Potter, or was it just your job? No, I'm a massive fan of Harry Potter. I have never read the books, however, so I know people are throwing things at the wall now, but I never read the books. I enjoyed the movies. I saw every single one of those movies in the theaters, and I really enjoyed them, except for the first one. I thought it was a bit too simple. The Christopher Columbus first and second one are a bit too simple, and maybe it's done because, and they picked the right guy. Christopher Columbus had done Home Alone, those kind of things. I think that was him, wasn't it, or John Hughes? Either way, Christopher Columbus had done these kind of younger children films, so it just worked for him to do the first two films in the Harry Potter franchise. But Azkaban is where I really turned the corner, and then I've enjoyed all of them from that point forward. Goblet of Fire, I'm in and out on, but I like what David Yates did with the rest of the films to end those series of films. So yeah, I'm a massive fan of Harry Potter, and I became an even bigger fan watching people's reactions to the land of Harry Potter when I was working at Universal Studios. I mean, people come in and they cry. People come and they feel so happy to be there, And when I went and saw it in Orlando, I was blown away by it. I felt like I was walking into this embrace, this very warm embrace. And this is a guy who'd only seen the movies. I'd never read the books. So for me, walking into the Orlando Wizarding World of Harry Potter was life-changing. Because without me going there, I would have never, when my friend had posted that there were auditions for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter here in LA, I would have never auditioned for it probably if I hadn't had such a wonderful experience at the one down in Orlando. So to me, I became an even bigger fan of Harry Potter, seeing people's effects on and the respect. I grew to respect J.K.'s attention to detail, and when you study all the things that you study, so you can be prepared to be a wand keeper in Ollivander's wand shop, you really your respect for J.K. Rowling grows for the world that she created, and her story is amazing and something that people should use as a symbol of inspiration for yourself. She was homeless, she was poor, she had a child, she was going through divorce, she was feeling suicidal at times, and she wrote this Harry Potter universe. She created this Harry Potter universe on a train, just going back and forth, and obviously rewrites and all that kind of jazz, but still, it's just a fantastic story. So I became a big fan of that. Jack Senior wants to ask, where's the belt? I don't know. I think the belt is around Dan Murrell's waist, and then the other belts are around the Patriots. I mean, I don't know why people keep asking this question. It's like the stupidest question. Kyle Coppin, how often do you want to strangle Christian in the office? Oh, never, man. Christian and I have known each other 20 years. We're ball-busting sons of bitches. That's what we are. Alex Bahunin asks, Arnold movie versus Sly movies, which do you like better? All right, here's the deal. It's tough to say. I like more Sylvester Stallone movies than Arnold movies, but that may also be because Stallone has done more movies than Arnold movies. But you go through the whole Rocky series, except for Rocky 5, that's 4 movies right there that I enjoy. And then if you include Creed, that's 5 movies of his that I enjoy. I'm not a big fan of Rocky Balboa. I know people loved it as a comeback film. I thought it was a bit too simplistic. I love Creed. Creed is fantastic. All right, then you're going to throw in the Rambo films. You can throw those in. That's up to 7 or 8 films. And then you throw in Tango and Cash. You throw in Demolition Man. You throw in what's the one he did? Oh, Copland. You throw in those films, you start to increase the number of films that you can have. And I did a top 10 Schwarzenegger films with Matt Nost, and I barely got to 10 with Arnold. So I would say that I enjoy Sly movies more, but the Arnold movies that I love. Conan, I fucking love Conan. So there you go. Chris Alexakos, hey, what's up, dude? Do you think that getting the top 10 podcast back online will help Team Top 10? I think so. I think already it's shown how we can do. Like Matt and I have already hit our stride. It was almost like we hadn't left, and we came back more refreshed, more relaxed. We put away some stuff that we've been dealing with between ourselves, and we're just more relaxed now doing the show. So who knows? Time will tell. Who is your favorite person, and why is it Daryl? No, Daryl Mansell. No offense, you're not my favorite person. And the double D's, yeah, right. Sure, one day. Stephen Angel, if they were making an Outlaw movie, who would you want to play you, and who would you want to direct it? Ooh, damn. I would say Clint Eastwood, Unforgiven Clint Eastwood to direct the film, and maybe Javier Bardem to play the outlaw. Oh yeah, it's just like a version of Anton Chigurh, maybe a version of him. Maybe that would work. Who's your favorite classic salsa artist? Celia Cruz or Tito Puente. I don't know too many salsa people. Anthony Negron. What are some must films for Blu-ray collector? I don't think go to the AFI Top 100 films. That's where you got to start. Like go Godfather, go 1 and 2. Go Apocalypse Now. Go Citizen Kane. Go Vertigo. Go what else? Fantastic. Oh shit! Go When Harry Met Sally. It's the best romantic comedy ever made. Go get Die Hard. It isn't just the classic films. There's also films that have come out recently over the last 3 decades that are fantastic. Zero Dark 30 is an essential film to have, in my opinion. Blade Runner is an essential film. 2001: A Space Odyssey. Absolutely, you have to get that film. Ben-Hur is a fantastic film on Blu-ray. So Lawrence of Arabia with the 4K resolution that they've done, the remastering. That's an incredible film to watch. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, I would put that. Yojimbo, Seven Samurai. There's so many in the Akira Kurosawa list of movies that you need to go see. And then, of course, if you get a Blu-ray, go get 3D versions of Up. Any of the Pixar movies that are done in 3D, go get those in 3D. They're fantastic in 3D. So, who are the 2 competitors you would add to restore the Horsemen back to glory? We're still looking. And I don't know if the Horsemen are coming back, to be honest with you. I don't know. It really didn't work out with Burnett and with Bibiani. They just couldn't hold their own. And in the end, they had to fall by the wayside. They left, right? I mean, and we see the results of them both leaving. Christopher Michael Woodburn, what do you think is the most difficult aspect of competing in the Schmoedown? I think it's calming your nerves before you walk out there and then being okay with the fact that you might lose. Like, it's a big deal. These things are getting hundreds of thousands of views, which means if you fall flat on your face, you're falling flat on your face in front of hundreds of thousands of people. And then people are not shy with leaving comments and busting your balls. People who are never going to come close to competing in the Schmoedown have no problem judging you for how you do on the Schmoedown. It's almost comical to me when I see people's comments. And people who compete in the Schmoedown, they take it real personal. Like, people get really hurt by these comments. Some people commented on a certain competitor's looks, and it sent that person into a tailspin for a couple of days. So it's not cool what some of these assholes do when they leave these comments that are mean. And I'm not talking about regular people who leave comments that are like, oh, I can't believe you missed it. That happens. That's a decent comment. But people who get personal and attack on a personal level, those kinds of people are just jerks, and they're assholes. And even if they have their own podcast where they say shit like that, they're assholes. And fuck them. What do you think? Oh, no. Okay. Joseph Inaxius Lar asks, do you like Grey Poupon? No, I don't. I don't like anything spicy. David Goizuda, how are things different for you now that you're full-time at Collider? I'm busier. And which is insane to say, right? Because I was really, really busy before, but I'm even busier now. But I'm enjoying it. I'm happy. I'm happy doing this job. I don't know how long it's going to last. I know you never know what can happen, but I know for me, I want to stay here as long as possible and learn as much as I can. And I really enjoyed getting to know all the people at Collider more, the more I spend time with them. It's a really incredible crew full of people who work really hard and are pretty smart and funny. And they enjoy what they do. And there's a genuine, there's a genuine just support. Everybody supports each other. So it's a cool place to be. Andre Arroyon asks, what do you think of Team Action? Are they the best on the mic in the league? They're really good on the mic. And they're obviously, Ben and Andrew have been studying. So those guys have really stepped up their game, and they're driven. They're hungry. And I remember being that hungry. So I respect their game. I respect what they're bringing. Are they the best on the mic in the league? Right now, probably, because they're hungry. When you're hungry, you're better. You're more motivated. You're more driven to be better on the mic. It just comes through. And so you can tell those guys have been doing their homework, and they have genuine chemistry between each other. And I respect what they're bringing to the table. Zach Berkeley, you can only watch 10 movies the rest of your life. What 10 would they be? Nope, too long of an answer. Christopher Michael Woodburn, when do you think we're getting a new trailer for The Last Jedi? If not by the end of September, certainly by early October. Can Top 10 finally dethrone the Patriots? And God, I hope so. And become the new tag champs. That's Michael Martinez. Jesus, I hope so, Michael. We are driven through this tournament. Matt and I really want to get those belts back. We hated how we fell apart against them, really me, but we fell apart against them in our attempts to win them back. So we owe the Patriots a whooping. We really do. Zudero, what is your drink of choice? I don't know, Bullet Bourbon and Diet Coke. That's my drink. Why the mask? Alexa Kathleen, why the mask? Well, I've told the story many times before, but I was just, Christian and I were coming up with the idea of what character I would play. And he mentioned something like, I want you something out of the, like a rebellious period. And then we both kind of came up with the idea of naming the Outlaw. And I had a cowboy hat already, and I'm a big fan of Westerns. The mask was something I had because I did I dressed up as the V for Vendetta guy like 5 years ago for Halloween. And I just thought it was a great mix. Why? Because I wanted to represent the people. I didn't want. I've never been a fan of being in power. I like being a voice of the people. And so for me, wearing that mask represents voices and destroying authority, like corrupt authority, And so I wanted the Outlaw to be that. Michael Campbell, will you ever do a commentary track for a movie? Sure. I've actually been thinking about doing a separate podcast. I know you guys are probably like, what, another one? Where I just record doing commentary as I watch a movie. So it's almost like you're sitting on the couch with me watching a movie with me. So it's certainly something I've thought about, but I don't have enough money to keep launching all these podcasts. Honestly, it costs a lot of money to start a podcast and to pay the fee, to have enough bandwidth on, and I don't think Christian will give me another podcast on the network. So I already have two. So Josh Martinez, what are Liverpool's title chances this year? I think they're decent. I wish we'd picked up a stronger defender, central back, and another striker. And the fact that we missed out on Thomas Lemar and Virgil van Dijk, I think the guy's name is, we missed out on those two guys, and that's going to hurt us, I think, in the long run. Manchester United looks just ready. They just look hungry. I've been watching Premier League for 20 years, and when a team starts off the season and they just look a level above everybody else, and certainly Manchester United does at this point. So we'll see. Garrett Meyer, from one Liverpool fan to another, do you think we have a shot at the title this year? Sure, we always have a shot. You never know. Manchester could lose a couple of people to injury, and that's that. And I know they're getting Ibrahimovic back, but you never know. You never know with the Premier League. Every team is 1 or 2 injuries away from going down for the count. Michael, you've already got a question that you asked, so I will not answer. Kelly Meehan, what has been the most enjoyable, rewarding project you have worked on? It's a good question. Most enjoyable, rewarding project? I would have to say being the voice of Springload on the Transformers movie show, the Robots in Disguise. To be a Transformer, that's just been mind-boggling to me. Being a Decepticon and getting to do 5 episodes and voice this character, multiple times, and then getting it to be a toy, and then being able to give that toy to my nephew and my niece. That's so rewarding. For me personally and professionally, yeah, pretty much the most rewarding thing. If you could add a category to the Schmoedown, what would it be? Probably foreign movies. I think that would be an awesome category. It'd be really dangerous for a lot of us. So, Liam Kerrigan, lots of my friends here in Japan are worried about the North Korea situation. As a veteran yourself, how do you see this whole thing playing out? Look, here's my honest opinion. And of course, I am not in military intelligence anymore. I'm not privy to any kind of dossiers or documents. My belief is that all this is posturing by Kim Jong-un. This is not something he's going to do. And I know if you want to get some real intense, incredible knowledge about what's going on in North Korea, Japan, in that theater right now, watch the Vice special on what's going on with China and the way they're kind of pushing their power around that area and pushing the Philippines around, pushing all these smaller countries around with their forces. So this is coming to a head. I just don't know that Kim Jong-un is the one that's going to bring it to a head because he's such a unstable guy. I don't think unstable in the way that he might do anything in a moment. Unstable in that he thinks he's more powerful than he actually is. So I don't know how it's going to play out, but I have a feeling that eventually, Trump and his people are going to step in and have a harder edge to them when they deal with him, and we'll see where that leads us. Caitlin Griffin, when will we see the Fire and Brimstone Outlaw back? I miss him. I don't know. Sometimes he's always there. Listen, the Fire and Brimstone Outlaw is always just bubbling below the surface. I guess it's going to take a competitor, or maybe competitors, if we're talking about team division, to wake that part of me back up. But we'll see. It all depends on, it all depends. I'm where I'm at, but you never know. Some people kind of hit your buttons in a certain way, and next thing you know, that piece of you comes out. What movie characters inspires you in life? Rocky Balboa, definitely. I think he inspires me very much. Gandhi in Pirates. I know he's a real person, but that Ben Kingsley's portrayal of Gandhi in the film, to me, has always been something that moves me. Malcolm X, Denzel Washington's portrayal of Malcolm X in that film. There's some powerful moments in both of those films with people on their journeys to discover what they're supposed to do with their lives. So to me, those guys inspire me a lot, and those characters inspire me a lot, definitely. Patrick Campbell, DACA. I really want to hear your thoughts on how this has played out, the DACA, and now what comes of that with Trump trying to use it as leverage for his wall. It's just pomp and circumstance. It's pomp and circumstance. That wall is never going to happen. So to me, it's just him placating his base, just like he did. Just like that's why he pardoned Joe Arpaio, that idiot sheriff, and that's why he's doing the things that he's doing now with the transgender stuff. It should appeal to his base because he knows he's losing power. He knows he's losing support. Rats are leaving his sinking ship every fucking day. And so he's got to do stupid shit for optics to make people believe. And this DACA thing, he's going back and forth, and he put it in Congress's lap now because he's a wimp. He's a wuss. I've never seen a bigger wuss as president than this guy. He's a silver spoon, spoiled, fat piece of crap who's never going to do a fucking thing in life to leave any kind of legacy. And the man could. The man has all the money in the world. The man has a platform now to make a difference, a real difference in people's lives. And all he's doing is fomenting hate, racial divide, and misogyny. This is what the man stands for. He's an infant in a man's clothes, and he acts as such. And his petty childishness, his petty inability to be the better person in situations is astounding to me. And the people who voted for him should feel ashamed. They should all feel ashamed. I used to defend it and say, I get it. You wanted to vote against what was happening in the Congress, blah, blah, blah. But now you see what you voted in. Your job now is to call your congressman and vote for impeachment. Get them to vote for impeachment because that's your job. As powerful as your vote was to put him in the office, you see how irresponsible he is. So therefore, your job is also as an American who voted for this guy to call your congressman and go, you know what? I made a mistake. Please whatever. When the impeachment articles of impeachment come up, vote to impeach him. I can't have him in office anymore. And that's what you do. That's what I think. There's a lot of films that have been close to production or even in production before being shuttered for one reason or another. Things like Spider-Man 4 with Sam Raimi come to mind. If you could turn back time to have one of these productions finish, what would it be? Oh, I think George Miller's Justice League. I know people are like, the script. As if the script was finished. Like, there's things that you make changes. I would have liked to have seen George Miller's Justice League, especially when you see what he did with Fury Road. I'd have killed to see that. So it would have been fantastic. Dennis Hurleen, talk about music. What are your favorite bands, artists? Oh, Elvis Presley, The Beatles, Led Zeppelin. I like Ray LaMontagne. I really enjoy Sean Colvin. He's a fantastic singer-songwriter. Patty Griffin as well. Who else? Well, AC/DC, of course. Sure. Van Halen, of course. Mark Ellis, shout out. Who else? Journey. I love Journey. Let's see. Frank Sinatra is one of my top guys. I have just about every CD Sinatra's ever released. I think that's a good mix of things, right? Don't you think? All right. Oh, and Bruce Hornsby. Oh, that was my first concert ever in Virginia, 1989. Front row. Bruce Hornsby and The Range, back when he was still with The Range. They had just released Scenes from the South Side, and I went to see him perform with his band. And John Molo, who was the drummer at the time, I was such a crazy spastic kid that I drummed the entire concert because I was such a massive fan of Molo's drumming throughout the entire first two albums. Along the Western Frontier, I think, is the first album, and then or The Wild Frontier, I think, is the first album, and then the second album, Scenes from the South Side, which Scenes from the South Side is one of the top 10 albums ever released, ever, by anybody. Scenes from the South Side from Bruce Hornsby and The Range is fantastic, and it's perfect Virginia music. When it's raining here in LA, or when I miss home, when I miss Virginia, I will put that on and drive around with the air conditioning on and just get lost being back in Virginia again. It's fantastic music, and it's just really, and of course, Public Enemy. I saw Public Enemy live. I would put them as some of my favorite bands and artists. All right, Jay-Z, and I love Kanye. Sorry, I love Kanye. I do not like Taylor Swift, so you might as well put that down. Victim mentality singer is just it's not for me. Summer Toadvine. If you had to spend the day with any movie character, who would you want to be with? Good question. Shit. I think Jimmy Stewart from Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. I think Lee Marvin, if I was feeling like a badass. Lee Marvin from Point Blank. Steve McQueen in Bullet. Probably Rocky Balboa, I guess. He'd be awesome to hang out with. That's a damn good question. I really appreciate that question. Ramon Ramirez, do you think there should be a match for the position of interim commissioner? If yes, who should be in? It's not my decision. No. And I don't want to be commissioner. No. That's not my job is to win belts. My job is not to rule the fucking league at this point. No. That's Christian's decisions, and whatever he's going to do, he's going to do. I'm sure he'll have an announcement soon. Justice Kempfer, I still got only one question. Where's the belt? Well, Justice, do yourself a favor. There's a question mark at the end of questions, so try to do that when you're doing grammar and also, you know where the belt is. Dan has the belt, and the Patriots have the belts. I don't know why this is an issue, and Hector Navarro has the Inner Geekdom belt, so I'm confused. Like, what's wrong with you guys? Are you guys just not paying attention? You're not watching the Schmoedowns? Michael Rowe, best NBA team, 60s Celtics, 70s Lakers, 90s Bulls, or current Golden State? I'm going to say, no, I wouldn't say 60s Celtics, because I think the 80s Celtics would have destroyed the 60s Celtics. I wouldn't say the 70s Lakers. I would say the 80s Lakers. The 80s Lakers are the greatest team I ever saw and will ever see. The 90s Bulls, I think the 80s Lakers could have exposed the 90s Bulls very much. Thoughts on FSU, Alabama, and FSU? Yeah, Jeremy Hastings, you're asking me about FSU and Alabama. Yeah, that was a tough game to watch, and it's a shame that Francois went down. It's a shame. But we've got a freshman guy, so we'll see what he does, and I hold out hope. You never know. Jimbo it's not like he doesn't have experience with freshman quarterbacks, so, he may have to learn on the fly, he may have to learn quick, but I think you never know what could happen. In the ACC, you just never know what can happen. Simon Crampton, if you could live inside the shoes of any movie character in history, what character would you pick? Wow. If I could live inside the shoes of any movie character in history, what character would you pick? Whew, damn. That's good. That's really good. What character would I pick? I don't know how to answer that. I think Gregory Peck in To Kill a Mockingbird. I mean, just to feel that I could be Atticus Finch, that's a good person. That's a good man. So if I could live inside his shoes, I bet I would learn a lot. So yeah, that's who I choose. Charlie Hatcher, did your previous post contain spoilers for upcoming Schmoedown matches? No, I don't think so. What previous post? Oh, people are running away with this late to the party. Hey, guys, we've been talking shit to each other for 3 weeks. Last time I checked, on the post-match stuff, on Twitter, on Instagram. I don't know why people are thinking spoilers are. That's so hilarious to me. Danny Fenwells, if you could have been a fly on the wall in the making of any film, what film would it be? And what behind-the-scenes secrets do you want to know the answers to? I would say 2001, The Space Odyssey, just to see what Kubrick was doing with that film and what his drive to create that film was. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for Apocalypse Now when Coppola was doing that one, but watching that documentary, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near there. Even a fly on the wall would probably die from all the rain and the mud and everything else. So, but I also would love to have been a fly on the wall to watch Orson direct Citizen Kane. That would have been everything to me, I think, honestly. That's my favorite film, number one. Always will be. Will you and No split ways if you lose in the Schmoedown? Nah. Matt and I are tight. Top 10 is forever. Top 3 Wes Anderson movies. Let's let me look. I don't want to make a mistake here, so let me look that up real quick. I do think that, let's see. All right, so let's see here. Sorry, I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. All right. Yeah, that was a loud one. Top 3. Moonrise Kingdom, definitely in the top 3. Royal Tenenbaums or Rushmore? I would have to say Royal Tenenbaums because there's just more going on there. As much as I love Rushmore, and I love Rushmore. And probably Grand Budapest Hotel. I do love Grand Budapest Hotel. Fantastic Mr. Fox is definitely a tight 4th, and then Rushmore. Those are films that I watch over and over again. They stay with me, and that's the reason. Let's see. James LaPlante. Who's going to the Super Bowl this year? Probably the Patriots and the Packers. I feel like Aaron Rodgers has something he needs to prove. But it could be the Falcons. You never. Matt Ryan, I think that loss last year, you've seen this before. Teams get real close and lose in the title game. They come back even more driven to win. So don't count out the Falcons. Don't do it. Justice, no, I'm not going to answer that stupid question. Eric Grebner, if you were in Blade Runner, which replicant would you be? Or alternatively, which one do you feel you'd be best at playing? Is Deckard a replicant? That's my only answer. If you answer in the affirmative, then that's my answer. Aaron C. Jensen, this is a tough one, but what is your all-time favorite film or genre? I said Citizen Kane. It is. It's not a tough one for me. It's always been my number one favorite film. I've been saying it since I was 17 years old. That is my favorite film, bar none. Nothing has ever come along to come close to matching it, in my opinion, for its effect on me and what it tells me about the world. Seven Samurai is a very close second, I guess I would. So I guess I have to rephrase that. That's the closest any film has ever come. Is Seven Samurai. It grows every year. My esteem for that film grows every year. Let's see. More on politics. Who would you want to see beat Trump in 2020? Trump will not be around in 2020. Let me just tell you that. Philippe Hunt. Trump is not going to be around in 2020. Connor Kennedy. Who do you think are some of the most underrated competitors, teams in the league? I think DC Movie News is one of the most underrated teams in the league. People don't know Kalinowski's partner. He is an intelligent guy who knows a lot about movies. I think Stacey Howard, absolutely. Stacey has grown by leaps and bounds, and she does not rattle. Stacey's amazing in that way. Like, she is really, just watch out for her, guys, because I have a feeling Stacey's she's gonna shock some people. She's incredibly smart, and she's just gotten quicker and quicker and more knowledgeable about these things about trivia and film, and so like, it's been amazing to watch her grow as a competitor, you know. And of course, Rachel Cushing. Rachel Cushing is amazing, and we'll see what happens with her. Ron Gonzalez, what do you do if you were commissioner? I'm not going to be commissioner, Ron. I appreciate that, but I have no thoughts on that. Garrett Corrado, thoughts on Dan Murrell? What have you been doing to prepare both the singles? Okay, thoughts on Dan Murrell. Dan Murrell, nothing but respect. It was an honor to face him every single time I faced him. I wish I'd beaten him that in that triple threat match. I'd be the champion right now, and because I would have destroyed Sam Levine without a break in a sweat, because I scored more points than Dan playing along against Sam Levine. So my thoughts are that Dan is one of the greatest competitors I've ever had the honor to face. He is number one in the Mount Rushmore of competitors in the Schmoedown and will always be. No one will replace Dan Murrell. No one. What have you been doing to prepare both singles? Just studying and relaxing myself. That's it. And not investing too much in the win or the loss. Just being myself, having some fun. We'll see where it goes. The Walking Dead season isn't coming about a month away since you host the recap shows for that on Collider. Are you getting psyched? Not yet. Not yet. The trailer was pretty intense. I'm just still recovering from the end of Game of Thrones. Give me a couple more weeks with that, and then I'll start psyching up for The Walking Dead. That's from Vanessa Wilson. Mario Abate, was the Outlaw your first idea for a character, or were there other characters you could? Yeah, it really was. It was the first idea. Yeah, I mean, this idea of being a heel was Christian's idea, and then we both kind of came up with the idea of the Outlaw. I don't want to answer that. James Peterson, just how good are Team Action? They're real good. What do you want me to say? I want to see them beat I want to see them beat some real competitors, but yeah, they're good. Virgil Gray, what exactly do you do at Collider now that you're full-time? A lot of things. I'm like it says, I'm writing, I'm hosting, and I'm producing. That's what I'm doing. Timmy Buckingham, got any crazy stories about working with Nick Cage on Wind Tuckers? Not really. Nick, he keeps to himself. The whole time I was there, he kept to himself. You could say hi to him, you could work with him, but he's a guy who really kept to himself and was always working on his scenes as he sat by himself going over his lines. That thing was, he's an incredible actor to watch in his process because he's dedicated. Now, he do crazy films and pick crazy roles, sure. But my experience with him on Wind Talkers is that guy is a very dedicated actor who sat and didn't spend too much time talking to other people, but he wasn't like doing that to be like cocky or to be like aloof to people. He had work to do. And so when I would observe him at times from the extras tent, and you could see him just sitting on the chair, going over his lines, acting out his parts to himself, so that when he got on set, he'd be able to do it, have it down pat. And he's one of those guys that when he never messed up like in my opinion and my recollection of it, he never messed up a line. So I enjoyed watching him work. Tyler McLaughlin, what is probably your biggest regret in life? If not one in particular, what are some? My biggest regret is that I didn't learn the lessons that I needed to learn 7 years ago and had to go through the last 7 years of hell to learn the lessons that I've learned about myself, about my relationships. Yeah, that's my honest, naked truth. I wish I had learned the lessons that people had been trying to tell me in previous relationships 7 years ago, so I wouldn't have endured the last 7 years of hell that I've endured in my personal relationships. And that's what they've been. It's been hell because I had to. And sometimes was a great lesson in a great line in Citizen Kane where he says, "You're going to need, if it was everyone else, I would say." You're getting what you deserve, but this will be a lesson to you. But you're going to need more than one lesson. That's what he says. That's what Jim Geddes says to Charles Foster Kane. He says, you're going to need more than one lesson, and I needed more than one lesson. And the last 7 years have been one of the hardest lessons I've ever had to learn about myself and about my world. But I learned them, and so in the end, I'm just happy I learned them, and I didn't spend the rest of my life stuck in the same patterns over and over again with the same kind of people. And dating the same type of person who was constantly, not meeting my needs. Cody Mitchell, when was it that you realized that you wanted to be a part of Collider full time like you are now? Probably within the first few weeks that I started doing the recap shows. If you guys remember, we did the Flash recap show and the Walking Dead recap show and a number of recap shows. It was a joy to be a part of those recap shows, and I really liked the vibe of everyone there. Wendy and Dennis and. Of course, Christian and Mark when they came over and all this. So to me, it was a joy to be part of Collider. So Elena Marie 10 wants to know, since Game of Thrones ended the season, what TV shows are you currently watching? Oh, let's take a look. Halt and Catch Fire. I'm now turning on my DVR. No lie, I'm turning on my TV to see what shows I've got programmed to be recorded, and I will let you know what I'm watching. Let's see here. Yeah, Halt and Catch Fire, definitely. Ray Donovan. I'm still watching Ballers. I'm not watching the new Poldark. Fuck him. Let's see, what else? Real Time with Bill Maher. Episodes, which I absolutely love. If you haven't watched Episodes, you are missing out on one of the best comedies ever made on TV, on cable television. Is there anything else that I am? Oh, Ripper Street. I really love Ripper Street on BBC America, and also The Nick on Showtime. Those are fantastic shows that I'm still catching up on, and the most recent seasons, I'm watching them now. All right, let's see. Cooper Fellis, if you could pick any sports team to go the next 50 years, not able to win a championship, who would you pick? Great question. Oh, the Dallas Cowboys. Listen, since I was 7 years old, I've been a Washington Redskins fan. I hate saying that. I know it's a racist term, so I hate saying it. But if I could pick any sports team, it would have to be the Cowboys. I never like seeing them win. And they've had some great quality people wear that star, including Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith. And it's still hard for me to respect them, Lauren MH, if you were to land a dream role in a film, what genre of film or type of character would you most like to play? I would love to be a cowboy in a Western. I would love to be one of the leads of the cowboy in a Western. That would just be everything. I love Westerns so much, and so to be a part of it would be fantastic. One of these kind of rugged, like 310 to Yuma with Russell Crowe type Westerns. I would enjoy that. Alexander Robinson, what was your best, worst? Or a mobster. I would love to play a mobster, like something like Godfather, like another Godfather. I would love to play a mobster. Alexander Robinson, what was your best, worst experience while working as a conductor of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter? In the opening days of the land, when we had soft open, which we weren't quote officially open, we were unofficially open, and people would come and line up, and we would open like 3:00 for like 4 hours, right? One time, this family with like 15 kids was in line, and they were coming into my room, and the mother started to have a verbal argument with this guy, and they were having this horrific argument that I thought was going to become physical. So I just immediately went into like peacekeeper mode, and I moved in between both of them, and you can't break. And this is like, I'm still new to the job, and the one thing they told you is no matter what's happening, you cannot break character. So the whole time I'm trying to break up this fight in my British accent, in my wand keeper robes, with my wand keeper hat and my glasses on, just saying like, please, there are kids here, we can't. Well, I can't do my English right now, but like I was just doing that, like separating them and moving them around. Like, what did I say? Like, you cannot fight in here, please. Stop. Move. All that. I was doing all that. Like, move, please. Just stop. You can't. Welcome to Ollivanders, please. Just stop. And so I was doing that whole time, and the guy kept pushing past me like he was going to hit this woman. So it was like, a very scary experience, because his two friends came up behind this guy and they looked like they were going to beat up this poor woman. And she apparently, it was just a hot day, and she had pushed ahead of this guy. So because she wanted her kids to have better positioning. This guy was there with his daughter or his niece, and so he felt like he was being pushed aside by this woman and her kids, and so it just became a terrible situation. So that was the worst experience I had there. The best is when I gave because we choose people, like we do the whole spiel at the beginning, and then we walk around as we're doing our spiel, and we're mentally picking who we want to have the magic and bring up to the desk and do the whole wand pairing thing. Where there was this one girl, I saw her and I just immediately knew she was the right choice, and I picked her. And as the wand pairing was going along, she started to get a little more emotional, and then by the end, we found her wand. She was very happy, and she got teary-eyed. And people started moving out of the, and these two young ladies walked up and were next to her, and they were bawling, like they were just bawling. And I was like, "Well, please don't cry. It's quite all right. We've got one for. Please don't cry." And the sisters go, "No, you don't understand. We think our mom was working through you because you chose her, and our mom paid for this trip before she died of cancer. She was supposed to come with us, but she died of cancer before. So you were the vehicle for our mom to give our sister this experience, because she's the number one Harry Potter fan." And and I was just so moved by that, because my father died of cancer that I was keeping it together, and as soon as they ushered him out of the room and they closed, I broke down for like 5 minutes, because those are those things that like people need these fantasies, these properties, these franchises to connect to, because they take them to different worlds. They show them nobility and goodness, and people gravitate to these properties because of that. And it doesn't say it's easy. It shows you the gray areas of life, but there's also this goodness and the friendship and care and love. And so that's why people loved Harry Potter so much. So the fact that I was able to give that experience to that young lady without even knowing that her mom had paid for their trip ahead of time before she died of cancer, that's an experience I'll never forget. So those are my two experiences, really, honestly. Chad Allen Guerrero, if you could be in a Western or crime film, what would you choose? The Godfather films. And a Western, probably Unforgiven or The Searchers. Those are my two. Andrew Jones, what movie influenced you most to get into cinema? Is Citizen Kane. Studying Citizen Kane, that was the one. And The Godfather, both. Omar Rodriguez, how difficult of a decision was it going full-time at Collider? Not a difficult decision at all. I've been lobbying for it for quite some time. Given that you worked at Universal Studios, and did you leave any other jobs or side gigs? No, I've kept all my podcasts. I had to give up my writing column job at the tracking board, but that's you can't have everything in life, and sometimes you have to make sacrifices, and that was a sacrifice I was willing to make, because I really wanted to work full-time at Collider. I did not want to be at Universal Studios anymore. It was a great experience, and I had a great time there, but I kind of run its course for me, so the offer came at the right time. Adam Johnson, when are you making your Inner Geekdom debut? I don't know yet. We're still months away. Matt Farrar, predictions for Liverpool season. I already gave you them. Brandon Brown, favorite James Cagney film. It's either White Heat or, and I know you're going to think it's crazy, Yankee Doodle Dandy. I think those two films, that's James. He was a hoofer. James Cagney was a hoofer. He was a musical theater guy. So to watch him do that, when you had grown up seeing him, well, not grown up, because obviously I wasn't, I wasn't a child when those films were coming out, but like when I was growing up, seeing him in these classic films as a gangster, it was amazing to see him in Yankee Doodle Dandy. Brandon Brown, or Andrew Hayes, what's a movie that inspires you the most? Well, the Rocky movies. Cinderella Man really inspires me. It really does. There's just Russell Crowe's portrayal, his nobility even in poverty, and how hard he works to achieve when he needs to achieve for his family and for himself. Like, that movie is just a powerful movie. And Chariots of Fire really inspires me. A lot of people don't talk about that movie, but Chariots of Fire really inspires me because it's two people one who is determined to fight back against the racism, because he's Jewish, to fight back against the racism inherent in the country at the time, in Britain at the time, and another who is, adamant in his religion, his belief in Christ and the Sabbath and everything. So these are two men who are fighting for their religions. It's a very, very powerful film. I love it to pieces. Jesse Robertson, all I need to know, Outlaw, is when are you coming back to Pencils and Parsecs? That's a question for Emma Fife. Ask Emma when she wants TO316 to come back. That would be awesome. I had a great time on Pencils and Parsecs, which is a show on Hyper RPG. Shout out to all them over there. Kim Cannon, Hector Navarro, all those guys over there. Zach, I had a great time being on there. Nazario Montenegro, why are you the best? And why can't the rest admit it? Actually, Dan's the best, particularly. I agree. Dan is the best. And I don't know if I'm the best. Mark Riley would have a say in that. I think Mark Riley would have a legitimate say in saying he's the second best. Miguel Parra, who is your role model other than The Rock? Pretty sure he goes, yeah, I do. I go into it. Jack Sr. answered the question for Miguel. David Putnam, why do you think the Four Horsemen fell apart? I think jealousy. I think they're impatient desire to be champions and not do the work and not fight harder for it and not respect the game. Here's the number one thing I tell you about the Schmoedown. I tell anybody, any new person, respect the Schmoedown or the Schmoedown will disrespect you. It's just that simple. You think you can walk in and know all, you can kick ass. That wheel will screw you. You never know what number you're choosing, what questions are coming. So to me, you got to respect the game, the power of the game. I've always worshipped the Schmoedown, so the Schmoedown has been good to me. If you don't worship the Schmoedown, you make fun of the questions, you think they're too easy, you scoff at the Schmoedown will fuck you. That's how it works. Bobby Stern, the year is 2025, and John Stephen Rocha just won the Oscar for Best Actor in a Motion Picture. What's the film? The film is... The film is Movie Trivia Schmoedown, An Outlaw's Journey. Marissa Killingsworth, what do you think makes you and Matt Know such a great team? I don't know. Matt and I are so completely different people in a lot of ways because Matt is more relaxed than I am. Matt is more chill with the world. Matt's married. Matt, has a house. I'm still scratching and clawing and hungry and driven and fighting. I'm Latino. He's white. We come from different backgrounds, but Matt and I think what connects Matt and I is our mistrust of authority and our desire to do things our way. And I think that's something we find in common with each other. And the fact that we just speak freely about things, like it just is a positive thing for us. Ken Coughlin, I have a 15-year-old daughter who wants to go into voice acting, and I know you've done a good amount of voice work. Are there any challenges as an actor getting into character in a sound studio as opposed to set on stage? I know that for me, I find that being physically in an environment and costume often helps me find a character, but you don't have those advantages in voice acting. Do you have any advice for her regarding finding a character's voice in that environment? Yeah, absolutely. Here's my advice. Understand the story of your character. That's the number one thing. And you have to learn to use your imagination. It's really powerful as an actor, especially as a voiceover actor. You have to create the environment in your head. Don't be ashamed. Don't be self-conscious, because those people behind the glass in the booth, they've seen it all. So all they care about is you giving a fantastic performance. So if you need to create this environment in your mind and to do the physical movements and your head cocked and adjust your voice in a certain way, whatever you need to do to find the character, and then remember to not move your mouth off the mic. That's the number one thing too. A lot of people like go in there and then they start going to left to right across the mic, and you lose half the words and they have to redo a whole take and start over again. And nothing conveys unprofessional acting than voiceover acting than someone who is constantly moving off the mic. So you can do whatever you need to do to create the environment that you're doing, but do a lot of breathing exercises, settle into your feet, really find your foundation and your base. And then when you look in the character, create the character, see the character in your mind, create the back and forth, and draw on your own experiences. All that really helps. If your team in the Schmoedown was not named Team Top 10, what would you name your team? Outlaw Nation, I guess. Rocha, you're my favorite here, bro. So here's my question. How are your tactics going to differ this time when you face the Patriots? If we face the Patriots, I will be the most relaxed person you have ever seen in your life. I was too wound up to beat them the second time, and it blew me up. I missed a couple of questions in that first round, and I couldn't recover mentally. So that's the honest truth. So I'm just more relaxed now. You have a block of free time, like a couple of days, which I know is unlikely. Russell Howell wants to know, what would I be doing with my free time? Catching up on my shows, chanting in front of my air conditioner to my Michael Honson, and then also taking a walk on the beach. I love Hermosa Beach, so I would be doing that. Carla Marlene Sanchez Munoz, what is your favorite Guillermo del Toro film and why? Also, you're the best. Oh, thanks, son. Carla, my favorite Guillermo del Toro film is probably, I guess I would have to say, Pan's Labyrinth, right? I mean, that's a film that destroys you as you watch it and also inspires you and moves you and takes you to places you didn't think you'd be. And in the darkness, even within the darkness, there's still light. Even in the darkest of moments, there's still light. And I think that's what's amazing about that film, and I think it's a full realization of Guillermo's vision for a film. Taylor Robinson, which 6 people from Collider or the tournament would you want on your zombie apocalypse team? And what? That's a tough question. Perry, certainly Ellis. Damn, that's a damn good question. Probably Knapsack, definitely Makuga, Harloff, and maybe Grace. That's probably the truth. Oh, and Wendy, of course. Brian McGovern, God damn it, now the world will never see my thought provoke. It was a doozy of a question, so now I will ask an inning. How do you feel? How do you feel Scott Mance will understand? How do you feel? Oh, okay. What is the most inspirational movie you've ever seen? Sports movies. That's all I can tell you. It's sports movies. Those are the ones that inspired me the most. The ones I love the most. If you could, Neil, that's from Patrick Aleo. Neil Module, if you could inject yourself into any historical NBA team, what team would you want to play with? The Bulls. I really would love to play with Jordan. He's the greatest of all time for a reason. And the close second is playing with the Lakers in the 80s and Magic Johnson. To play on Showtime, whoo, baby, that would have been everything. So I would have loved to do that. Yeah. Brian Daubach, hopefully asking 5 questions. It is too much. So I will answer one question of yours. What is your go-to snack at the movie theater? It's either Reese's Pieces or I sneak in some Wetzel pretzels. That's my go-to snack. Honestly, I always get popcorn, but that's not a snack. Aaron O'Brien, hi John. What made you want to be an actor? As someone studying acting myself, I would love to know also any tips. I love you. I'm a huge fan. Thank you, Aaron. Aaron O'Brien. Here's what I would say. Because I loved movies, because I loved acting, and I was bit by the bug very early on. I did a play in high school, and it just bit my butt. It just bit me, and I could never let it go. And it tortured me for years before I finally came back and started doing it. And so I had some modicum of success. It wasn't enough to keep me doing it. And so I'm doing this now, which I enjoy very much. And I've found more success doing this than I did as an actor. You got to want it with every fiber of your being. These are my tips. If you want it, you got to want it. And some people are lucky and they just stumble into success. But a majority of actors who have any kind of success work hard at their craft. They're constantly studying scripts, reading plays, finding new scenes, updating their reels, getting new headshots every year or every 2 years, going and doing workshops, doing agent workshops, doing manager workshops, doing director workshops. And they're also sacrificing financially. And by that, I mean, you may want to have all the pay cable channels. You can't afford it as an actor because you've got to pay for acting class. And that's what it is. You want to go out with your friends? You can't afford it. You got to pay for acting class. You got to pay for voice lessons. You got to pay for this or that. That's the sacrifice. Because in the end, if you achieve success, all of that, you will have money for everything else. You will have money for everything. You'll be able to have your friends come with you to premieres. That's how you got to look at it. You got to want it more than anything else in your life with every fiber of your being. That's what it takes to become an actor. And only 2% make that $1 million or whatever that people make and are successful. Most everyone else is fighting to be successful and is making only just enough to get by. Those are my tips. Oh, and get a good acting coach. It's really important. Alejandro Salazar asks, if Zack Snyder was a beloved filmmaker, would the JL reshoots and Joss Whedon's involvement be as overblown as they are by the media? Look, stop with that shit. Just stop it. I'm so sick of this bullshit coming out of DC fans about the media. Listen, I don't want to be mean to you guys, all right? I've been attacked by a number of DC fans, but so be it. Listen, people aren't making up shit. I'm so sick of this narrative. I know many of the reporters that you guys are bashing and you guys are shooting your mouths off about, and you have no concept and no clue the connections and the sources that they have. You guys want to believe that the studios are just telling you the honest truth, as if studios have never lied, as if PR departments have never lied to save face. All right? You're conveniently believing stuff so that you don't have to believe the worst. All right. And that's what's got to stop. You sitting behind your computer in some city way the fuck away from LA with no connections, no sources, for you to think that you know better than someone who works for the Hollywood Reporter or Variety or Entertainment Weekly or even some of these online websites here in Los Angeles who have connections inside the studios. I have connections at Fox. I have connections at Warner Brothers. I have connections in Sony. I have a number of people I know, and Hasbro. I have a number of people who give me inside information, who tell me stuff. And I'm not allowed to say anything about it because it's not proper to release it. But there are people who work for these studios and they will tell people certain things. They will say off the record, or they'll say like, you didn't hear from me, or unnamed source. And there's a reason for that, because people want to keep their jobs. So stop saying it's the media. Don't do that Trump bullshit. Okay? It's not the media. Yes, do some websites have certain articles for clickbait? Sure. But it's not THR. It's not fucking Variety. And it's certainly not Collider. We report what people report and what we hear. We have respectable people working for us. Frosty is a fantastic reporter, years in the business. We don't make up shit. I'm so tired of hearing people say that, like, you guys are willing to believe a conspiracy that the reporters are all making this stuff. We're all just have an axe to grind on DC. But you don't think, well, maybe Warner Brothers is trying to save face because they are kind of falling apart with some of their DC stuff, or they're not getting it together, or they're trying to save face because all these directors keep walking away from them. Like someone was making a big deal. It was like, oh, look, Star Wars fired another director. Jesus, yeah, nothing to see here. It's such bullshit. There's a difference between being left and breaking up with someone. If you're constantly breaking up with people, that's not a bad thing because you're trying to find the right fit. If people are constantly breaking up with you, that's got to tell you something. All right? If people are constantly leaving you, you need to take a look at yourself and fix some things. And that's the difference. People are constantly leaving the DC. And you're like, oh, they were in talks. They weren't the choices. You guys think people enter into talks if they're not possibly the choice? What knowledge do you have that you know that? You don't. Sitting behind your computer in some city, you know no one in these high-ranking executive positions who have these conversations. The reporters I know do. And 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, the stuff that comes true, the stuff that comes out, it comes true. And then you all want to harp on the 1 or 2 times they're wrong and be like, see, they're wrong. Just like the Trumpites do with CNN. Oh, 1 or 2 things wrong. Well, they're fake news. And never mind, that's 90% of it is true. Never mind that. The 10%, that's what they want to focus on. Enough with that stuff. I'm just so tired of it. You guys want to accuse people that are, respectable journalists that went to school for this, that their careers, their reputations are at stake. And think about this. If they make up shit, how excited would Warner Brothers be to let them come into a screening or let them come back and interview their actors? They wouldn't be. you know? So that's the end of my soapbox on that. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. I respect the DC fans who love their DC, but don't stop thinking, like, just stop with that stuff. It's not a conspiracy. There's no fucking conspiracy. That's just stuff you guys are making up to cover up the fact that Warner Brothers and DC have kind of made some mistakes here. But it's okay to make mistakes. They're trying to course correct. I wrote that in that article I wrote the tracking board. Like, they make mistakes and now they're course correcting. That's what they want to do. All right. Anyway, let's move on. Adam Dobson. Rocha, I'm a big fan and was when you were more of a heel and even more so now with your recent change. Only real question I have for you is about your hat. It was looking pretty bad with the post-interview eruption of Team Action. Not sure what brand you have there, but as someone who has a few myself, I just want to say you should take that into a store and get it shaped again. In fact, while you're there, pick up a hat brush and box as well. I just want to make sure the Outlaw is always looking camera ready. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. When I find any semblance of time, maybe I'll do that. Thank you. Jacob Fritter, biggest obstacle to overcome in your line of work? My desire to achieve more versus patience. That's what it is. Being patient and knowing that I will have the time to achieve more. Do you ever miss the DMV? I don't know what that is. Division of Motor Vehicles? No. Jacob Fritter, that's from Rob Buchanan, rather. Jacob, you already asked, I can't answer 5 questions for you, Jacob. Sorry, one at a time. Kevin Gayton, how do you study for the Schmoedown? There's some websites with movie trivia quizzes. I take those all the time. I try to do as much studying as possible, and then I don't study at all the last 4 or 5 days before Schmoedown because I just want all the information that I have to percolate and just settle in my brain so I have it ready for me when I compete. Ethan Murphy, who do you want to round out the 4 horsemen? As I said, I'm not ready to answer that question. I don't think that's coming anytime soon. Cathal Thomas Coleman, any chance of another top 10 Halloween horror episode with Copster and Cody? Yes! We've been talking to Copster and Cody and trying to find a time. So hopefully we will find a time very, very soon. We shall see. All right, let's move over to Schmoeville. I don't have a lot of time left here on this podcast, so hopefully I can answer some of these questions quickly. John Mariano, in all honesty, do you prefer playing the Outlaw as a face or a heel? Which is more fun to play and which is easier to cut a promo as? It all depends on the situation. Sometimes it was easy at the beginning to play a heel because, people didn't know what to do on the mic or in front of the camera, and now everyone is catching up, and thank God, because that means the league is better. It's got more people involved in it, more camera ready people, and people who are funny and creating these characters and doing these incredible intros and introductions and what have you. So it's great now, so now I can just sit back, and just be the Outlaw. That's why Matt and I walk out. We just walk out. We don't do any big histrionics. We don't put on costumes. We don't have people, play characters for us. We don't need any of that shit. Matt and I have done it all. And so we just kind of walk out, because what matters is after you do all the histrionics and do all the incredible skits and all the crap that you do and put on your costumes and all that kind of shit, the only thing that matters is what happens in the ring. That's the only thing that matters. Everything else is just show. Ron Biggs, what kind of music are you into? I already answered that, Ron, earlier. I hope that answers your question. John Mariano, are you coming to NYCC? Yes, I'm coming to New York Comic Con. And yes, Mark Ellis has been talking to me about doing a stand-up set again, so I may do that again. Aaron O'Brien, hi, John. What made you want to be an actor? I already answered that question. Let's see. John Mariano, I already answered your question. Okay, Garrett Meyer, what are some of your pet peeves? Ooh, talking in the movie theater. Pulling your phone out in the movie theater. Not putting your turn signal on while you're driving your car to let me know that you are turning all of a sudden. When you are first in line in the car at a stoplight and you're staring at your phone, you're texting. That's a pet peeve of mine. People touching my stuff is a pet peeve of mine, to be honest with you, because I've had stuff stolen from me in my life, and so I get kind of nervous when people touch my stuff without permission. Pet peeve, I think another one is victim mentality. If someone is constantly walking around blaming everyone else for their problems, that drives me out of my mind. It's one of the reasons I don't like Taylor Swift. All her music is like, oh, you guys have beat me down, you guys have hurt me, I'm going to come back, and it's like, well, why didn't you see the red flags the whole time, every single time, And so I can't abide victim mentality all the time. And there's other artists that do it too, other male artists as well. This has nothing to do with her gender. I just don't like victim mentality type of music. I like more empowerment. Yeah, as crazy as if you have the new Kesha album, it's or CD rather. That's how old I am. It's fantastic. The music is amazing. Praying is one of the best songs I've heard in like 2 decades. And then even Katy Perry, I love her nutty vulnerability. The thing about Katy is Katy puts her heart out there. Like, yeah, she's at times she's a little strange or whatever, but like she's got a sweetness to her that I enjoy, and I like her music because of that. So, favorite Star Wars character, Han Solo, bar none. Will Liverpool win the Premier League this year? We shall see. Who knows? Tim Koskuba, team aside from the Wizards that you're most looking forward to watching this NBA season. I want to see what the Cavaliers look like once Isaiah Thomas comes back. But I'm excited to see what the Oklahoma City Thunder are like with Russell and PG3. Like, that's gonna be awesome. So I'm looking forward to see how Russell does with Paul George. We'll see. Patrick Carlos Moore. Hi, John. With the World Cup coming up next year, who do you root for internationally? I always root for the United States, obviously. We'll see if we get into the World Cup. I cheer for Bolivia if they ever make it to the World Cup again. I cheer for England all the time. I cheer for Scotland. I cheer for Ireland. I cheer for Wales. I cheer for France. And that's it. I do not cheer for Brazil. I do not cheer for Italy. I do not cheer for Germany. But I respect Germany, I respect Italy, I respect Brazil. I just don't necessarily cheer for them. Oh, and I love the African. I'm a big fan of Ivory Coast. I love the Ivory Coast in Africa. So, how do you think the Redskins will do this season? Do you want my honest truth? I think we're going to go 6-10. I just think this whole Kirk Cousins thing is just, and losing all those receivers that we lost from last year into this year, I think it's going to hurt us. I think Terrell Pryor is going to be a standout performer for us, but I think we're going to go 6-10. Tim Loney, is Braun Strowman walking away with the Universal title at No Mercy? Yes, he's due. And I'm not 100%. I'm not the biggest fan of Braun Strowman, but that battle he had with the Big Show at Raw this past week, holy Mary, Mother of God, that was amazing. So he has won me over with that match. So Cody Ways, what little things make you happy? Movies, for example. Little things? Just being around my friends makes me happy. Like, having that, when you're hanging out with your friends and you hit that sweet spot and you're all just joking around about something for like half an hour, 45 minutes, and you're just laughing because you're all one-upping each other, and it's just, you're all in that same space of really appreciating the friendship and the personalities that you have as friends, and so those are the little things that make me smile. Rain makes me happy. I really enjoy rain. I really do. On a cold day, rain is like fantastic. I love LA in the rain when it's in the winter time. It's one of my favorite things. Getting a message of support from a friend, from a girlfriend, from my mom, or from someone I care about, or sometimes even you guys send me words of support or tweets that hit me at the right time, and I really appreciate that, honestly. And I have a number of friends who send me texts that are just very loving, and those things are what make me happy. Aaron J., are you a fan of marijuana? No comment. Michael Atkinson, you seem like a pretty humble guy. How do you handle people who come up to you as fans? Does it overwhelm you that you've become such an important figure to us? Okay, that's an important figure. I wouldn't say I'm an important figure. That's a very kind thing for you to say, Michael. I am a pretty humble guy for the most part. I believe in myself. I know what I can do. I'm driven and I'm confident, but I'm not cocky, and I think that's really important for me. I really appreciate people, and I appreciate the work that they do, not only in their professional lives, but in their personal lives too. So that's really important to me. And when people come up to me as fans, I'm nothing but honored and blessed and moved. And at times I'm just very appreciative. Like, that's the number one thing, is I'm very appreciative. And I feel self-conscious at times because I'm just like you. Like, I was a fan too, and I'm a fan too, and I'm into the stuff that I'm into. I just was fortunate that certain things worked out so I could be in this position. So to me, I'm very appreciative of the fans, and whenever they come up, I'm always happy to see them. Interviewing Dwayne Johnson was such an eye-opening situation for me because I got to see what he was like with a fan like me. Like, he created time for me. He cut a promo with me. He did all this stuff that was really amazing. And so, that to me is it taught me how I should approach that situation. And I'm always happy to meet you guys. Like I hated at San Diego Comic-Con that I had to run off to a dinner because I really wanted to spend more time talking with you all, meeting you all, and hopefully at New York Comic-Con I will not have any situation like that, and I'll be able to spend time and meet you all at the meet and greet. So, Jen Kempe, hey Jen, as a fan of biopics, whose life would you like to see get a film adaptation that we haven't seen before? Ooh, damn. I would have said Churchill, but it sounds like Gary Oldman is really kicking ass with what he's doing with that film that's coming out. You know what I'd like? We haven't had, other than Kurt Russell's Elvis Presley biopic, which is a TV movie, we haven't had a fantastic Elvis biography movie. I would love to see that. Who else? Geez, that's a good question. Have we had an Einstein? We haven't had an Einstein movie, right? We saw IQ with Walter Matthau. And then, of course, Jeffrey Rush did a fantastic job for that series. But I would love to see something like that, like an Einstein movie. That would be incredible. I think that's a biopic that I would enjoy seeing. Luca Hope Fallon Madden. As a Latin American who's also hugely into film, are there any particular Latino or Latina individuals in the film industry you find to be particularly inspiring to you personally? Also, are there any films coming out of South America you particularly enjoy, be they classic or more recent? I don't know if I can answer. I don't know if there's many South American films that I've seen, to be honest with you. But as Latino or Latina individuals in the film industry, Edward James Olmos is very inspirational for all that he's accomplished. Tony Plana, who's played a number of different heritage and races. I love Elizabeth Pena. Elizabeth Pena, God rest her soul, that was an actress. Such a powerful actress. I love Rosalind Sanchez. I'm not the biggest fan of Jennifer Lopez or Salma Hayek. I'm just not, I feel like they're all about themselves. And I think, there's just something about it that just rubs me wrong. It's just my thing. It's my thing. I like Isai Morales. I thought he's been a fantastic guy since the 80s, and Benjamin Bratt, Jimmy Smits, definitely Jimmy Smits. Lord God, Jimmy Smits. He inspires me so much. I mean, I was such a massive fan of NYPD Blue, so when he got that job, I was like so happy. And then, of course, I'd seen him in LA Law, and then seeing him all these other films, and of course, being part of the Star Wars franchise, it makes me happy. And Diego Luna is another guy that I find inspirational as well. I really enjoy his work. Stephen Hand, Mr. Rocha, how and why did you come to support Liverpool? Just being a fan of the Beatles. And then that was it when I was starting to explore being a fan of British or English Premier League or English Premier League. Being a fan of the Beatles, I was like, Liverpool, yeah. And then reading up on their history, it was amazing. And something about the Liverbird, something about the crest, something about that song. And then I saw Michael Owen in the World Cup, I think in 98, right? Or 94. When was the World Cup here? Was it in 94? Him scoring that wonder goal against Argentina. I think that was here, wasn't it? But that's the one that really solidified me. Yeah, 1998, the World Cup, Michael Owen. It was the one. That was the one that I was like, holy shitbird. How did he possibly score that goal from midfield? He fought off three defenders and scored that wonder goal. That was the one. Like, I was like, who does he play for? Liverpool? Done. That's my team. All right. Zach Berkeley, if you could only watch 10 movies. Oh, you already asked that question. Cool. Colin Cool. In the spirit of it, what would be your fear and how would it manifest itself if you came to face with Pennywise? My fear, people know who listen to Top 10 Show, my fear is the simian revolution, the apes taking control of us, or AI. And my number one fear is an ape that discovers AI and is controlled by AI, as like Grodd, basically. So that would be my greatest fear. Tully Slim, what part of yourself have you used to make the outlaw character? I think the ball-busting part of myself that I had to develop to survive growing up where I grew up. I was made fun of all the time growing up through my elementary school years, middle school years, and into high school. My first couple of years of high school, I was made fun of. My balls were busted. Like, I didn't understand what it was, the ball bust, and I had to develop that part of myself, And so I developed that part as a self-defense mechanism, and so that's what the outlaw is, And also that enjoyment of needling people at times. which is a part of the ball busting thing. But like watching the wrestling shows and seeing the way they do that and play the heel, those are the things that inspire me. Colin, you already asked a question, Colin, so I'm not going to. Over under 51% Kirk Cousins is a 40. Yeah, 1,000% Kirk Cousins is a 49er next season. Ivan Ramos, Liverpool not being bullied in selling Coutinho to Barca. You think Coutinho will still have a future? I think Coutinho has a future for now until the summer. No, until the winter transfer window. We'll see what happens in the winter transfer window. If Barca is not playing as well as they want to play, and we might be able to pick up other people that could replace Coutinho, I think that's certainly possible. If not, certainly in the summer he's gone. Mason Merritt, what movie do you think wasted the most potential? Something that had a great cast, cool concept, or director that should have been a slam dunk? Oh, Liu Kang, Suicide Squad. Yeah, I would say Suicide Squad, sure. I think the remake of Magnificent Seven. Oh, it was terrible. And Anton Fuqua, I was enjoying his recent work. I don't know what happened on that movie, and that's a great cast. I don't know how they messed up Denzel Washington playing the Yul Brynner character. I just don't know how that happened. Mary Lombardi, are recent departures of directors, writers from Disney and Warner properties unusually frequent, or is the internet just magnifying normal changes? Is there a communication issue, or just upper-level suits playing musical chairs? No, I think what you've got in the Disney situation is you have Kathleen Kennedy, who understands, like, when she thinks it's not working, she will pull the trigger. I respect that. I actually 1,000% respect that, you know? Was 5 months into Han Solo a mistake? Should they have pulled the trigger sooner? Yes, probably should have pulled the trigger sooner, but maybe she didn't want to be seen as someone who was like, when she felt it was the wrong person, was moving them out and moving someone else in. But you cannot argue with the results. Force Awakens is a good movie, made money. Rogue One, good movie, made money. Those are things that she's moved. But Rian Johnson, no drama, untouched. Why? Because she probably loves what he's doing with his Star Wars property. He understands it and got it right. With the situation with Trevorrow, I never was a fan from the beginning. I didn't like Jurassic World, and Book of Henry I heard is terrible, so I was not surprised that they moved him out. I'm not being happy that someone lost a job, but I think it's probably the best for all parties involved, you know. And so, in the Josh Trank situation too, I don't think he was ready to be in a big studio doing a big picture. So, those are the things that I would tell you. I don't think anything's blown out of proportion. Kathleen she's making the right decisions this early in the process, and her track record speaks for itself. As for Warner Brothers, that's a whole other ballgame, because a lot of directors come close to signing with them to do their films, and then they walk away. And there's a reason for that. I think Jeff Johns still needs to kind of shake that ship up a little bit and figure it out. I want to give them patience, because they had to cross over. They're doing a changeover now from Zack Snyder's control of things to Jeff Johns' control of things, and that's going to take some time. And I don't know what Joss Whedon's part is going to be in this, so I think we have to take some time. But the DC people who jump on the Star Wars people, and I think one particular person, and he knows, me and him, we've had battles, and he knows how I feel about it. They're manipulating the situation, because whenever you say, well, look at the track record of Star Wars, they'll bring up prequels. Not the same people in charge of the prequels as who's in charge of Star Wars universe now. You can't even compare. It's apples and oranges. It's not the same thing at all. The same people in charge of DCU are the same people in charge from when they started with Man of Steel. So you can go at them. So that's the thing, that people are rearranging facts to fit their narratives, and that's not right. Ben Campbell, favorite WrestleMania? Either WrestleMania 17 or WrestleMania 3. That's my two ties. Two WrestleManias for a tie. Andy Evans, what countries have you visited, if any? Which one had the best people and, of course, food? I visited Bolivia when I was 7 years old. I visited France, Paris. I visited Vienna. Austria, right? He's asking for countries. Of course, and I studied in London, in England. And Mexico. I've been to Mexico, Rosarito, Mexico. England is my favorite. London was my favorite city. Absolutely, bar none, my favorite city. And if I could get a job in London, I would move in a heartbeat. I just love that city. What can I tell you? Brian McDonald, have you ever come to Ireland before, Mr. Outlaws? No, Brian, I would love to, though. I would love to come to Ireland. Ireland, Wales, and Scotland are on my list. And if things work out for me at Collider, I may take a 2-week vacation next year where I do that. So definitely. And I would love to meet you guys. Like, go for a pint and sit down and talk to you guys. That'd be a blast. Mike Morgan, what movie character has inspired you the most? I think I already answered that, yeah. Matthew Kearns, what is a comic book character you'd like to see a movie made about? Well, it's already happening. So I would say Moon Knight. Moon Knight is definitely one of my number one guys. Wonder Man would be fantastic to explore as well. And I would love someone to please redo League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That's a great, great fucking graphic novel, and it breaks my heart that they did not get it right. Zach Armberg. No, I would ask that. Isaiah Vivero, ever read any indie comics? Yeah, every once in a while. John Schnepp recommends some indie comics, and I'm catching up. Now that I'm producing Heroes, I'm catching back up to some of those comic stuff. So I will come back to you, and I will take your suggestions and read them. Andrea Schmid, what alternate universe casting or director choice would you have liked to see most? Ooh. When Guillermo del Toro was at the Collider offices being interviewed by Perry Nemiroff for Nightmares, he said that he had come up with a concept of Jabba the Hutt in a gangster underworld picture. Now, I would have loved to have seen Guillermo del Toro's version of Jabba the Hutt in a Godfather Jabba the Hutt. That would be awesome. I'm such a massive fan of the Hutt. The Hutts is a race, so I liked it when they popped up in Clone Wars, so I would have loved to see something like that. Joseph Weeks, what Academy Award-winning movie role do you wish you could have played? Patton. George C. Scott's Patton. That's a great, great role. And maybe Jose Ferrer, or is it Mel Ferrer, when he won for Cyrano de Bergerac in the 50s. I would have loved to have played that. Jeff Alexander, what was the best year of your life and why? Oh, I don't know, Jeff. That's a good question. Probably 98 when I went to London and studied and then came back, and yeah, it has to be 98 because I went to London, studied in the spring of 98. Is that right? Is that when I went to London? 98. Yes, I think so. God, I think so. Yeah, I think it's 98. Went to London in 98, studied there, and then came back and auditioned for Hamlet, and I got Hamlet. And then my father came to see me in Hamlet. And my father was not the biggest fan of me becoming an actor because he was afraid that I was going to have enough money and I was going to suffer through life. And he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong in the long run, and he was worried about all these things, but I loved it so much. But my father came to see me in Hamlet, and when it was over, I walked out, and he had the biggest smile on his face. My father had rarely seen me act, and he saw me. I played King Hamlet, and I played Fortinbras, and I had this massive chainmail and this huge beard, gray beard, and huge gray hair, and this massive sword, and my father was waiting for me afterwards, and he gave me this massive hug, and he said to me, he goes, "You were incredible. You were so big. I couldn't believe that was my son. You were so amazing. And I'm so sorry I wasn't more supportive before. I understand now." Let me tell you something. For an actor to hear that from his father or his mother, it is worth more than any gold in any installation, any Fort Knox or anything. Like, that's my greatest year. My mind grew so much from being in London. Like, I was a small kid from fucking Virginia, a small town kid from Virginia rather, and my mind just got totally expanded. I fell in love. I went to Austria and had a 10-day romance with this incredible woman I met online, and it just was everything to me. 98. So yeah, I would say that's my best year. Lane Sontag, why don't you have all the belts yet? I've already had all the belts except for the Inner Geekdom. I've had the tag team belts. I've won it. I've had the singles team belts. That's the thing, just misunderstand. I said all the belts, all the records. I didn't say all the belts, all the records at the same time. I don't remember that hashtag being there. Mike Edwards, what types of music do you enjoy listening to? I already talked about that. Do you go to concerts or shows? I don't go to a lot of concerts or shows. I don't. It's just not my thing. Every once in a while I'll go to the Hollywood Bowl, but I don't have any, I might be going to Kesha in November, but I don't really, it's not my thing to go to concerts and do those kind of things. But every once in a while I'll go. It's just not my thing. I've seen Dead Mouse, Pretty Lights. I've seen them live. It's been awesome. Is there anything, Jim Payne, is there anything you'll miss about the Harry Potter world? Sure, the people I worked with. I really enjoyed the people I worked with. They were amazing. They were really great people. I got to know a lot of awesome people, and it was it was my pleasure. It was my joy and my honor to get to know them and work with them. So, Leon McIntosh, have you ever missed out on an acting role to an actor who went on to become make it big after the role you missed? No, I have never done that, Leon. I've never been that close, brother. Will J. Rev Brandt, what would you do as commissioner? Oh, I'm not against. Justin Clark, what are some of your favorite books? The Alienist by Caleb Carr. That is one of my favorite books. Anything by Andrew Vacas. If you like underworld, private eye stuff, Andrew Vacas is a fantastic author that you need to read. Vachss. Start with Flood. That's his first book, Flood, and you'll be introduced to the character of Burke. And Burke is a character that goes through a number of his books. Vacas also wrote a Batman novel. So the guy is an incredibly gifted writer, and he has real-world experience with the things he's talking about in his novels. It's fantastic stuff. Andrew Peterson, what are your thoughts on the upcoming movie American Assassin? My thoughts are I hope it's good, it's reviewed well, and that I enjoy the shit out of it because the trailers are incredible. And the book is supposed to be fantastic. Graham Butler, what were your abiding memories from your time at Universal? Just the people that I worked with and the fans, like getting... I don't mean the Schmoedown. I don't mean the Schmoeville fans. I mean the fans like of Harry Potter, like getting to talk to those people and be with them and watch them experience the land through their eyes. That was one of the great experiences of my life. Favorite Kevin Smith movie? Ooh, I want to say Chasing Amy. Let me look at his filmography real quick. I don't want to leave one out that I shouldn't leave out. So let me answer your question here in just a second. By the way, I love Kevin Smith. I think he's awesome. Director, let's see here. I love the Mallrats. I'm one of the few that love the Mallrats. Yes, I'm right. Yes, Chasing Amy. I still think that film holds up. I still watch it every once in a while when it comes on one of those IFC channels. I do. Eddie Marquez, yeah, brother, congrats on joining Collider full-time. Thank you, Eddie. Were you with Josh when you guys watched it? No, I was not. And I'm watching that with my friends Thursday night, so tomorrow night. Michael Campbell, what makes a director great to you? Is it just making good, solid films, or is it taking chances with some films not quite hitting the mark? I think it's consistency is what makes a director great to me. Consistency and their own unique vision and consistent. Like that's what I was saying. A consistently unique vision. Stanley Kubrick is a great director because of that. Consistently unique, even different genres. War genre, sci-fi genre, horror genre, you name it. He was able to create these distinctly different films in his own way, Even, what's that one with Ryan O'Neal? I always forget that one. Would you ever do commentary for the movies you review on Cinephiles? Yeah, no, we could. We absolutely could. There's no, the Graham Butler, there's nothing with copyright. You just can't hear the audio of the movie. So if Steve and I wanted to do commentary, which is something we have talked about, you could never hear the audio. So we'd have to do it so you couldn't hear the audio. So Zachary Shelton, if you could face any celebrity in the Schmoedown, who would you choose? The Rock, bar none. Brandon Brown, what are your overall thoughts on it? I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. Chris Lemche, what's the best acting job you've had so far? And if you could work any one actor, TV, or film, who would it be? Pacino. I would love to work with Pacino. I really would. And best acting job has been the voiceover job for Springload. That's been my best acting job, period. I've enjoyed that so much for the Transformers Robots in Disguise show. Isaac Marr, do you like when bands include their music in soundtracks like Muse and World War Z? Of course I do. Of course I do. I think if it fits the movie, then yeah, of course. I think it's fantastic. You got to push your brand. However you push your brand, you got to push your brand. Brando Santizo, what's the one movie you suggest to people to get them into movies if they don't like them? Who doesn't like movies? Do you know someone who doesn't like movies? Who the fuck doesn't like? Everyone likes. I've never met anyone who doesn't like movies. They may not worship at the altar of movies, but I've never met anyone who doesn't like movies. So I don't know what movie I would suggest to them. Probably Die Hard, right? I mean, Die Hard seems to be the entryway for anything. What are your favorite classic movies? I've said Citizen Kane, Judgment Nuremberg, Vertigo. From Here to Eternity, definitely. To Kill a Mockingbird. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. It's a Wonderful Life. Sure. Meet John Doe. A Face in the Crowd. Streetcar Named Desire. Giant. Rebel Without a Cause. On the Waterfront. Those are great class. And then, of course, and I should add the Kurosawa, not just only the American Kurosawa, like Seven Samurai, fantastic. Yojimbo, Sanjuro, Rashomon, Throne of Blood. These are all incredibly classic films that I love from that time. Let's see. Zorro the Gay Blade. Hilarious classic. Matthew Jasso. Yes! What an awesome last question to have. Matthew Jasso, Zorro the Gay Blade. Absolutely. Listen, George Hamilton did these two incredible films in the 80s. Incredible, like I use that very, very loosely, that term, but they are films that stick with me and nobody talks about them. You know, and this morning I was asked on Movie Talk, we were asked like, what's a underrated film that no one talks about? I love Zorro the Gay Blade. And he also did a vampire film called Love at First Bite. These are two incredibly cheesy 80s comedies, but for whatever reason, I love them to pieces. He is, and one, he's Zorro the Gay Blade. He's this guy, he's Zorro, George Hamilton playing the character of Zorro. His father was Zorro, and his father has died, and he's called his two sons back to their place in Mexico, and George Hamilton is the one that's there, the first one that's there, and he finds out his dad is Zorro, so he has to take up the mantle to be Zorro. But he twists his ankle during one of his first few exploits and has to call his twin brother to come help. And his twin brother has been on a Navy ship with the British Navy since his birth. And he comes back and he's gay. And his name is Bunny Wigglesworth. Bunny Wigglesworth. And he takes on the mantle of Zorro. So you have a gay Zorro and a straight Zorro. This is the 1980s. This is happening. And it's so brilliantly funny. And he's never like made fun of in a way that's negative. Like he's not seen as a negative character, even like they treated him just the same, which I think is great. They don't make a point of it that what's the word I want to say? I want to say it correctly. Like, they don't make him the butt of the jokes because he's gay. That's what I would say. And that's what I enjoy about the film. Yes, are there some jokes because he's gay? Yes, but he's not the butt of the jokes because he's constantly in a superior position the whole time. So it's such a funny little film. And Lauren Hutton is in it. Yeah. And then Love at First Bite is his version of Dracula, which is really, really funny with, I think his name's Ernie Johnson from Laugh-In, plays Renfield. And then I think it's Jill St. John who plays, or Jill St. James, one of those two, who plays his love interest in the movie. And then Richard Benjamin and the great Dick Shawn from It's a Mad, 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 Mad World is in there as a detective who doesn't believe Richard Benjamin. Richard Benjamin is like a psychiatrist who's related to Van Helsing. And he's like the great-great-grandson of Van Helsing. And, of course, this is modern-day New York, 1970s, with disco and Studio 54 and all that. And so if you can turn your judgmental brain off and just sit back and watch two cheesy 80s comedies, you would enjoy the hell out of Zorro the Gay Blade and Love at First Bite. So there you go. That's my recommendation. That's such a perfect way to end this Q&A. Thanks, everybody, for listening to the Outlaw Nation this week. I hope I didn't bore the shit out of you. I just answered your questions and hopefully answered them to the best of your the best of my abilities and the best of your satisfaction. So, and please forgive me for a couple of the harder edged answers for the DC stuff. I'm just tired of people making fun of the people that I respect and care about, and people I know work hard in this business to report the news as it's happening. I'm just, it's just my way of protecting them. So if any of you were offended by that, I do apologize. I just want you to understand we're not just all sitting around here making up shit trying to destroy a studio. That just helps no one, because less studio means less. One less studio a massive studio means a studio without films. Without less films means less work. Why would we want to do that? It makes no sense. So there you go. That's my 2 cents. Thanks again, everybody, for listening to Outlaw Nation this week. Please leave a comment. Listen to all the other shows on there. On the SK Plus podcast channel, you got Don't Be a Beardo. You got the After Schmo show. You've got the Top 10 show. And you got the Wanger show, you got my show. Listen to all those shows, leave them comments, and be supportive of them. And thanks so much for listening this week. And follow me at The Rocha Says, TheRocha, SAYS, yeah. Thanks, everybody, for the incredible comments that you've left for me for joining Collider full-time. It's been a whirlwind of a ride, and I'm enjoying it, and we'll see, what's coming down the pike. But I'm having a great time there, and it's really nice to be working with such a great group of people. Thanks, everyone, for the incredible compliments that you have left me in the words of support. I really appreciate it. Well, and we'll see what happens in the Schmoedown. So batten down the hatches, get ready. The team tournament is heating up, and the singles tournament's right around the corner. So, I'm getting psyched up, and I'm getting ready. So we'll see what happens, and I appreciate all the support on that end as well. And please listen to the Cinephiles, Cine-Files. That's on iTunes. Steve and I break down one classic movie every week. This week we're doing The Nutty Professor in honor of Jerry Lewis. And the Top 10 show just did the Top 10 Stephen King films. So you can download that and listen to that to get you ready for it. So that'd be fun. Cinephiles drops every Friday on iTunes, Cine-Files. And we also have a Patreon if you want to go there. I think it's patreon.com/Cinephiles if you want to donate and help us offset some of the costs of doing that podcast. All right. Thanks, everyone. On the Top 10 show, of course, every Tuesday morning on the SK Plus podcast channel. So thanks, everyone, for listening this week. And I will talk to you all next week. And remember what I said at the beginning of this podcast. Whatever you need to do to get yourself in the right frame of mind to go achieve what you need to achieve, make it happen. Read the right books, do your meditation, do your chanting. Really let go of your anger and your need for justice and your pain and your hurt. Focus more on the lessons. Nelson Mandela said it best. He said, I don't win and lose, I win and learn. And that's important. You never lose if you're learning. You only lose if you don't learn. Some experiences are meant to be tough for us because they're meant to teach us. Trust me, I speak from my own experience. I mentioned earlier in the podcast, these last 7 years of hell that I've had in relationships really grew me up, taught me the lesson that I needed to learn. And I'm in a way better place now than I ever was before. So it's just what happens sometimes. You got to ride out the hard times, learn the lesson from the hard times, and trust that you will get above water eventually. So, all right. Thanks, everybody, and we will talk to you all next week on the Outlaw Nation podcast.
I might go out tonight. That girl's got no place to hide. I think I might start to ignite. 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 I've got a riot to incite, and I think I might start to ignite.